Good morning, good morning, good morning. Listen, y'all, it's been a minute. Life has been lifing, but life has been good. And y'all know what time it is, right? It's time for the Unboxed Morning Show. Notice I didn't say daily because as I am elevating y'all, a sister is doing a lot and much and most, but all of it on purpose for purpose. So the daily show is going to be special now. It's going to come to you in the morning, of course, but it may not be daily, okay? But as we start all shows, this is the day that the Lord has made, and we shall rejoice and be glad in it. And I tell y'all all the time, right? My conversations are vast. I have a lot of conversations with a lot of people, but I also have a lot of conversations with good people. And then I have conversations with great people, and those great people make it to the platform. And that's what we're about to have this morning. Great conversation with Julia Isaac. Now, let me share a little bit about Julia, right? Because we crossed paths on a reality show. Well, we actually first crossed paths at the audition, right? Now, listen, y'all, she came in and I was checking her out. She don't know that I was checking her. I was like, okay, sis is bringing it and she's giving gear, okay? I was like, y'all know a sister like style. I said, and she came in poised like a mother down to the shoe. And you know, my shoe game be on. So I was like, okay, feet wear, I'm loving it, right? And so we just had conversation. Now, neither one of us knew that we were going to be, booked for the show, but we just carried on great conversation, and I felt like the energy was good. We was tripping off of what was there, we was vibing off of what was there, and then we winded up on the show together. But let me give you a little bit about her as well. So Julia Isaac is a respected entrepreneur, former law enforcement leader, and military veteran with a strong background in public safety, operations management, and community leadership. So she has like over a decade of combined service in law enforcement and in the military. Now, Julia was born and raised in Orrville, Alabama, and that's where she developed a strong work ethic and a deep sense of community at her early age. Now, she did graduate from Mount Zion High School here in Georgia, where she began building the foundation of leadership, service, and determination that would later define her career. She served 10 years with Clayton County Police Department, and she held several critical roles that required investive expertise, leadership, and community engagement. Now, one of the things that I keep reading in here, if y'all don't hear it, is leadership. And we're going to talk about that because it's nothing like a melanated woman who understands her role as leadership but doesn't have to be authoritative. So we're going to talk about that, Julia, because I mean, you got a lot of
Yeah,
military and a little law back here and stuff like that. And we're going to talk
yes.
about that. So, like she said, she served 8 years in the Army Reserve and again ranked as sergeant. What a leader, okay? And
Mhm.
now she used all her leadership skills to transition into entrepreneurship and is the founder of Preferred Waste Solutions, PWS. And as a business owner in the waste management industry, she is focused on building an organization grounded in discipline, safety, operational excellence, and customer service. Julia, listen, it says you are a black female entrepreneur, right?
That's
And
correct.
a leader in every aspect. So, welcome to the show,
Thank you for having me.
Julia. Girl, then listen, because she in my neck of the woods, I be seeing her out in these Georgia streets, right? And I be like, beep, beep, Julia. It's just so funny because I'm like, here it is. We didn't know each other from Adam. Now we crossing paths all the time. I see your waste reciprocals all throughout the county, and I be so tickled. I'm like, they belong to Julia. I get so tickled.
Yes.
So
So,
we talked a lot. I mean, I read a lot about leadership, and I really want to hone in on that because and if you don't mind me sharing as well, I know that you are probably, I think you're about almost 20 years my junior. And
yeah.
I really look at what you're doing for yourself, as a melanated woman, as a
Mhm.
mom, and in the community. And just honestly, like you said, I read about where that ethic came from. But give me a little bit of more background though on like when did you realize I'm a leader?
Okay, so I realized that leadership was in me when I had the ability um, for people to follow me.
Mm-hmm.
And people actually look at you, people observe you all the time, and they look at how you work. And you think people is not paying attention to you, but they actually are. So leadership was developed throughout my work ethic. And I always believe if you had a good work ethic, and then that would spill over into those that you manage or supervise.
Mm-hmm.
And I always believed in following, doing by leader. How should I put this? I always believe that you should lead by doing.
Yeah, yeah,
So
I'd agree.
exactly. So that was one of my leadership styles. So when I was in the military, I always lead by doing. And then also when I'm coaching and training, it's a different than being authoritative and being
That
aggressive
part.
towards your subordinates as well. When you are training someone and teaching someone, you have to, first of all, you have to learn their learning style, the
Right.
different type of learning styles. And when your subordinates see how you're trying to learn them and how you care about them, that also build that respect as well.
Now
So
that's a word right there though, Julia. Wait, we gotta pause right there because I also manage with that same perspective and that same concept. I believe that if you treat people with respect, if you treat them if you adhere to what their needs are. Now that doesn't mean that, you accept all sorts of excuses and things of that
exactly,
nature. But if you let them know that you really do see them and that, they are important to the whole big vision that you have, then that feeling of importance will make them be important in what they do, right? And I don't like
exactly.
micromanaging, right?
Oh,
Because
I hate it.
I used to hate for people to go, "Oh yeah, my supervisor said," and I'm like, "How old are you?" And they're like, "I'm 37," and you need somebody to supervise you. Like no, and me, I'm just a thing on words, right? No, how about maybe someone's managing you to the next level, right? But adults
Exactly.
don't need supervision, or they shouldn't. You understand what I'm saying?
They
And so
shouldn't.
what you said is very impactful because that's what leadership is. Leadership has the ability to elevate another individual without having to belittle them,
Exactly.
without having to drive in who you are as the manager or the superior or whatever. That's what real good leadership is. It makes another individual or brings out the leadership in that other individual so that in all honesty you can actually lead together.
Exactly. And I also learned this during my law enforcement career to never hold anyone back.
Yeah.
Whether you feel like your future is beyond my company or if you feel like your future is inside of my company, if you come to me and you are my employee and you said, I want to grow, I love that. I love to see
Yes.
people grow because guess what? Okay, let me take you under my wing. Let's look at some leadership classes. Let's look at some management classes. What can we do? What can we do to train you up to be the best that you can be? If you
Hmm.
want to go to the next level as a manager in my company, all right, let's look at some university classes. Let's look at what they have on YouTube. Let's look at anything to help build that leadership style. And I would put you in situations where you would have to make decisions as a leader as well.
Hmm.
So that's all of those things you have to look at. When I was in law enforcement, I never held an officer back. If
Mm.
they wanted to go beyond, because you did have some supervisors saying, oh, they're such a good officer, I want to keep them here with me.
Ooh.
No, if you are a good officer, let's build them up and let's move them into the next level.
Right. So that they can train and build the next officer. You know what I'm saying? So you actually build and bring more of people with you than like you trying to hold them and suppress them. But let me go back here for a minute because you don't know this about me, Julie. I used to work for Baltimore City Police Department. And so
Okay.
I started off as operator 1329 as a communications operator or 911 operator. And then I went into the academy because I was going to be a police officer, right?
Mhm.
And
Okay.
and so this is kind of what you're saying in a little bit of knowing who the people, you said this earlier, knowing who you're working with, right? Well, for
That's correct.
me, I also want to layer that by saying the people have to know who they are as well, right?
Right.
When I went into the academy, went through breezed through the agility test and all that stuff. I was real fit back then, girl. Our sister was fit, 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 right? I
Oh
was like,
yeah.
yeah. But once we got into it, I realized back then, now you know what I'm saying? Back then, y'all, we listen and we don't judge. Back
Judge.
then, I was about a good 21 years old or whatever. I'm a whole
Mhm.
almost 56, so that was years ago. But I realized that back then, Julia, I had a lot of emotional challenges and healing to do. And I for
Mhm.
myself didn't feel safe with a firearm in my hand because I already knew that I was going to go out there and I was just going to shoot up people just because they made me sick. Right. I'm just being real. I was
That is
just like, I was
not
like,
it.
I was
Yeah,
like,
you did
I'm
the
gonna go
right
out
thing.
on this street and I'm gonna be tough Tony. And I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because I was with it, I was that without a firearm. But then you gonna give me a firearm and I get to use it. I was like, Renee, you not ready. And so what you said is very important because sometimes in a supervisor or in a leadership position, we're gonna say leadership, in a leadership position, you have to also recognize that the individual's strengths and weaknesses and be willing to share that with them for their
Mhm.
growth.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. And you
Yeah.
have to be able to.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
mean it's because you have to, it's the Bible scripture says, know those who labor amongst you, right?
Mhm.
You have to
Yes.
really know them. And then when you're in leadership, you have to know them, faults, downfalls, challenges, and all, and use that to elevate them and not use it against them. Now, here's the tricky part though. In knowing that and in elevating them, sometimes it may look like you're holding them accountable is a bad thing. And I share this about accountability. Accountability is turning people back for me scripturally, I mean, spiritually wise. Accountability is lovingly turning people back to the cross or back to God or back to positivity. Right. So notice I
Correct.
said lovingly guiding them, but that doesn't mean that you are not able to use or that you shouldn't use what you know is holding them bound to being able to be a leader. You have to be able to present that before them. You know what I mean? Is do you agree with that with leadership?
I do agree. Yes.
Yeah, that's absolutely that. So you turned your leadership into wait a minute now. You turned your leadership into entrepreneurial skills. So because that's how I met you. So let's talk about that. And then I want to share a little story that we talked about earlier because I know you know it, but directly and indirectly, you gave me some skill sets or you gave me some input as a leader for me to take heed to or not take heed to. But if I,
Mhm.
a wise person would take heed to good wisdom and build on it. So tell me how you transition this to like, okay, I'm a leader, I'm going into law enforcement, and now I'm getting ready to go into waste management. Make that transition for me.
Okay, so the transition happened when, you know, being in the career that I am in, it is
Hmm.
predominantly men.
Yes.
Um, Over the years, more women has came into the field of law enforcement
Hmm.
and military, of course. With that being said, you also have the thing you have to get by of the good old boy system, where you
Hmm.
have to get by where people will promote for because they know you, because they are friends with you. So you would get a promotion. Someone would get a promotion over you just for the sake of we've been friends for 10 years or so.
Wow.
Okay, so with me being in law enforcement, and I see that my work ethic and the way I'm going hard for the local government is not going to get me as far as I want it to get. Me and my husband started looking at other options.
Hmm.
Owning a sanitation company has always been his dream,
Oh, wow.
but
Okay.
yes, he's been in sanitation for almost 27 years.
Hmm.
But me being the person that I am, everything that I do it well. Regardless if
Okay.
I worked at McDonald's or if I worked at the top of the top, I'm going to do whatever job that I do, I'm going to do it well because that's just the type of person I am. I take pride in whatever I do.
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, we decided to, me and my husband, join forces and step out on faith and both leave our respective careers. By the time I left, I was making six figures. By the time he left, he was making mid six figures. So, we both left great careers to start a sanitation company with the assistance of God because we had people saying, "Oh my God, y'all leaving all this money on the table. What y'all doing?
Right.
Don't leave your careers. You're so good. You know, you have a well-known name in the community. You have a good reputation. You're leaving like great careers to start from zero."
But wait a minute,
And
but
that's
what you just said though, Julia, is one, you walked. I think that's what entrepreneurship is as well. You stepped out on what was your heart's desire and what you felt like you were purposed to do. And that's not telling anybody to just jump out there. First and foremost, it was something that you had, like you said, you always wanted to do, but you was making that transition. And I just wanted to point out, because I did the same thing when I left the federal government. They were like, "What do you mean you're about to leave? Right? Like you make good money, you're traveling, you're doing this." And it was like, but it's stifling me. And I didn't even really know what entrepreneurship was
Mhm.
at that time, but I
Right,
knew that what I was doing, though I was doing it with excellence, it was stifling. I just didn't feel fulfilled,
right.
right? But what you did, just to kind of point this out, what you were doing, because nothing is a waste. You were building
Exactly.
relationships while you were out there so that
Of
when you
course.
stepped out on faith, those were the same people you were able to communicate with or see they knew who you were as a person, your character, that they also will buy into your vision as well.
Of course. Yes, ma'am. So yes, I did start, building that relationship, that connection there.
Mhm.
But it is so easy for other spirits to rub off on you.
Ooh, say that
Yes,
again.
yes, when they're constantly, putting that doubt in you and saying, "Hey, I don't think you should do this. What are you going to do about your bills? You guys got a nice house, your kids." Like it's so easy to have that fear rub off on you. And that's why I always tell an entrepreneur, number one, have a plan
Yeah.
before you jump out there. Number one, have minimum debt as possible. So that way when funds are low, because you're gonna have the highs and the low in your
Mhm.
business.
Mhm.
When funds are low, you can still pay your bills.
Right.
And sometimes, this is the third, you may have to isolate yourself to get rid of the negativity because
Ooh,
you want positivity, you want to be uplifted. Being an entrepreneur is already hard, but
it
to have
is.
negativity on top of that is a no go.
Or doubters in your camp or haters in your camp, or I mean,
No,
let's just keep it
exactly.
100, because I told you, I don't know if you I didn't tell you personally, but I made reference to this on the show, and I think our premiere and everything, that I've always been a hustler, always knew how to grind. I mean, it may not mean anything to anybody else, but I'm from West Baltimore, baby, and baby, we could sell you a tape out the car, do your hair in the bathroom, sew you a shirt. I mean, like, it's going to
Exactly.
be something. But I really didn't understand that next level of entrepreneurship, which means what you just gave them, those three that three insights, those pointers are very good insights, because I knew how to grind. I didn't know what it took to be an entrepreneur. And that entrepreneur doesn't mean, well, let me just say it like this. When I was working and making a good money, I had side businesses, right? I had side hustles. It wasn't
Correct.
until I no longer had the side hustles per se and went into entrepreneurial, like you said, entrepreneurship full time, that I
Mhm.
was like, I didn't know those steps. Really, I didn't know put a
You're
couple
right.
bucks on the
You're right.
side. So when it was like, oh dag, I don't have enough money to invest in marketing because I gotta pay my rent. Like that plan hadn't been
Exactly.
all planned out. You know what I'm saying? Or, oh my gosh, I gotta choose between the market or marketing. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, so
Exactly.
what you put out there is really well. I like those points, and honestly would ask that you just kind of say them again, and definitely won't interrupt, because I want that to be really paramount and important, because this isn't entrepreneurship is not an easy thing, but it's the most rewarding thing. It really is. And so anything that is rewarding, it's best to prepare for it so that you can be the best at it or your better self at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. So number one is make sure you have funds saved
Mhm.
for when you go out on this entrepreneurship journey. You will have tough times as an
Yes.
entrepreneur, and you need to be financially prepared. Okay.
Facts.
Number two, during this entrepreneur journey, it's gonna definitely be tough times. You're gonna have self-doubt. You're gonna have all type of doubts. You need people in your camp that are supportive. You need to get rid of all the naysayers, all the doubters, all the haters. You need to remove them. And if that doesn't work, sometimes you need to isolate yourself and grind.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Who was the third one?
You know what? it was oh, the faith, the stepping out on faith. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just because, yeah, I cannot with you.
I was stuck on those two.
But yeah,
Yes,
that's stepping out on faith that, you have to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to go ahead and take that step. What was it?
oh, I
Nike's
know what
just
it
do
is.
it, take the leap. Was it step out on faith?
Yes, it's step on faith, but in combination, you have to be prepared to step out on faith. You
Yeah.
cannot step out on faith without that preparation.
Right, right, right.
And most
Absolutely.
people think financial preparation. Don't forget about your strategic plans. Don't forget
Mm,
about your don't forget about your business plans.
mm,
Your how you're gonna short-term goals. Make sure your short-term goals meet your long-term goals. So you
mm.
have to have those in place because if you don't have a vision and you don't have a goal to reach, you're just out there doing any and everything.
Absolutely. And that takes me to the conversation that we had this morning, right? As I'm navigating
Mhm.
more, understanding this entrepreneurship, I know the administrative, I know, a part of marketing I knew, but it was a lot of stuff I didn't know. And so, like I said, the input that you gave me, you started a ball rolling. And I really am appreciative of that. And I don't mind sharing that on my whole platform because I like to give flowers where flowers, when people can still smell their flowers, right? And
Right.
so I'm saying on the platform, the first thank you to Julia because when
Oh,
she
thank you.
came, absolutely, baby, you deserve it. So when we were talking about her coming onto the platform, right? Because it's a businesswoman, y'all. She was like, so you have, sure, just send me your kit. I'm like, what daggone kit? And she was like, well, I mean, send me over, what's needed for your platform, your amount. And I said, amount? I was like, I don't charge people to come on our platform. And see, a long time ago, one of my husbands, we listen and we don't judge. I did say one of, right? One of my husbands has said, Renee, you are too loving and you are too personable when it comes to business. It's nothing wrong with being fair and all those moral characters for business because that's what makes a good business. He said, but you
Right.
get involved too much, like because you care about people. And that is who I am, Julia. Like, I really, honestly, even when I don't want to, I care for my enemies. I really do. Right? People find that some people, or maybe some people that just don't want to believe it, but people who know me know I care for my enemies. My close friends be like, Renee, you love too daggone much. Like, I listen, you and Jesus must be sitting in a different room together because I ain't gonna tell you, I wouldn't deal that. And I'd be like, I know. And we would laugh and stuff. But I would always say, Julie, when I would go on when magazines or platforms wanted me to
Mhm.
come on, they would send me exactly what you said. And they's like, well, it costs this, that, and another. And I would be like, I ain't paying nobody to tell my story. I'm like, that's my story, right? Because I didn't see the business aspect from it. What it is listen, and you seriously, you opened up my eyes. And honestly, I tell you, I can't appreciate you enough. My thing was, wait, Renee, it's not just about somebody telling their story or paying for their story. You are giving a person an opportunity to advertise, to bring awareness to what they're doing, to be heard, or whatever the case may be. And you still got to keep the station moving. So in
Exactly.
business, that is what happens in business. So after Julia, look, after you came by, another guest was like, well, send me your, and I said, hey, listen.
Mhm.
Okay, you know what? So here, y'all, on the morning show, as of April 1st, there will be a fee to be a guest on
Yes.
the show. And again, because of how I am, yes, I'm going to get with the marketing strategist. It might even be Julia, y'all, but I'm going to get with the marketing strategist to look at my numbers because my numbers also have to make sense. And that's what seriously, that's what I also respect about you, sis, is that you do see the numbers, you see the projection, you see, you know what I'm saying? I just be seeing like, I'm gonna give somebody a chance, I'm gonna give them an opportunity, I'm gonna have a platform. And it's like at the end of the day, be sitting there singing old Negro anthems to God, talking about swing low, sweet cherry, oh, I need to pay my rent. And you know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, that part. So I'm like, this is why it's so important, honestly, to really understand what entrepreneurship is. But I think that these jewels and stuff that are being dropped are not to deter you from it because it's like one of the best places and one of the best things to have is to be able to actually earn income and a lifestyle on what you were purposed and called to do. That's a scripture,
Mhm.
Julia. The scripture says
Yeah,
your gifts will make room for you. So the things that we were purposed and gifted to do are the things that we will be able to have a livelihood on, but we have to do it in wisdom.
exactly.
Mm, 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 mm.
Mhm. I
Goodness
like that.
gracious. Now I'm gonna ask you a question. I don't do no interview style. So this is just a question. So I know that
Okay.
I really do know that you are about your business. And when I mean about your business, I'm talking about as a woman, as not just in entrepreneurship, but I'm just saying as a person like you do. You show up in your excellence. And so how is that being having your business and I see you out and about all the time, but still being a wife and a mom, like is what would be the rewards from that, and what would be the struggles in that, if any, because it may not be, what I'm saying, everybody ain't gotta have no struggles.
Well, considering it considers a lot of things. It
Hmm.
just depends on what your child wants to do.
Hmm.
Considering my child doesn't do any sports, that helps a lot because he
Okay.
did have a year that he did sports. In the year that he did sports, it was a smaller turnout on when I was doing networking events and stuff.
Hmm. Hmm.
But I leave that decision up to him on what he wants to do in reference to extracurricular activities. And in reference to being a wife, it really, the touchy part is us trying to divide the line between business partners and husband and
Oh,
wife
that's
because we
good.
are together 24/7.
That's good. Speak on that a
So,
little bit, because some wife is like, because I mean, I'm not wife. Some couple is like, how do we overcome that challenge? Like, we love each other, of course, you know what I'm saying, and we want to build
mhm,
together, but being together all the time, like you said, touch on that a little bit, because I don't think we don't share that enough about husband and wives in business. We see a lot of women pounding that payment and doing what they doing. We see a lot of
mhm.
men out here getting it, but I don't know that we talk enough about couples doing it together.
Yes, so it could be challenging sometimes because as business partners we bump heads. So we have to be like when we're having those discussions, then you sometimes you want to go throw in something marital in there, and then we're like, hold
Oh, girl,
on.
that's deep. Okay,
This
okay.
is not about marriage. This is about business. So let's stick to business. So it's easy to get it confused and intertwined. And I am a person that I can keep it separated.
Hmm.
I'm the type of one that I can be your friend. I can hire you, I can fire you, and I can still be your friend.
Absolutely.
Some people can't do that
Hmm.
because it's business to me, and I
Hmm.
can keep it separate, and I know how to compartmentalize. Some people don't know how to do that. Some people mix everything up in together. It has to be all or nothing. It doesn't for me
Right.
because I realize that you're not a great employee for me, but you may be a great friend for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's just you have to remember to keep when you're married and you're doing business, keep marriage and um business separate. And of course, I mean, there will be a little bit of leeway because you may do some things you would do for your husband or wife that you wouldn't do for a regular business partner. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm. I
So
mean,
like
I think that's the extra part of it, though. I think, like you said, having that balance and being able to, go like, okay, this is business. We're not putting, like you said, we're not, it's just not personal right now. We just dealing and focusing on the business. But like you said, because you have that relationship, it's like, okay, I could do a little bit more, or I feel a little bit, or the person
hmm
insightly more, that what would help make your business and that person grow at the same time.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Love it, love it, love it. So, Julia, talk about where you are. And like I said, I do see you everywhere, girl. But tell me, what have you, I'm not going to say accomplished, because accomplished and success is what you are continuously doing. But just
That's
share
correct.
some things, because I like to spotlight and highlight people, especially my sisters, okay? Because I used to say that I am my sister's keeper until one of my closest friends, yep, shout out to Tyler was like, I'm not my sister's keeper. I am my sister. And I was like, ooh, that's deep, right? So your sister's keeper would be someone who's like, yeah, I'm gonna look out for you, da 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 da. Saying that I am my sister is like, you know what? I know what it feels like. I know what the experience is. I understand fully. And I'm like, so I like to make sure that I elevate my sister. So, what are some of the things that you've accomplished, whether it been in law enforcement or in entrepreneurship? And I say this because we're coming to the end also of Women's Month. And I want women to be
Okay.
inspired by other women. And, no shade or anybody else, but I also want us as melanated women to be inspired by other melanated women. And I also want to say this one time before you start sharing all of what you've done, or, some of the things that you've done. We can
Okay.
all learn from everybody. And I get so
Exactly.
excited because that's a part of growing as well. As I mentioned earlier, girl, you are the age of my oldest child. And one of the
Mhm.
reasons why we don't grow, especially in my age group, is because we think we've experienced or we know stuff and this, that, and another, and that we can't listen to nobody else. Anything
Right.
that's not growing is dead. So if you won't allow somebody else to impart or to pour into you because you think you know it all, understand that you're really a zombie. You're the walking dead. Okay, so go ahead, Julia.
And repeat the question one more time.
I can't with you. Tell people what she done did. Tell people some of the accomplishments that you've had, both in law enforcement and as an entrepreneur.
Um, okay, so in we'll start with I'll build up to it since I'll go in order. In law enforcement in the military, um, I started at the bottom. When I first went into
Other than
law
the bottom, now
enforcement,
we're here. I break out the song.
exactly.
Go ahead.
I went and got associates in criminal justice thinking that I could go right into law enforcement and do the CID forensics type of stuff. And then I learned the hard way that most agencies was not hiring straight into that position, which is automatically a detective.
Right.
You have to start from the bottom and work your way up to the detective position. And I really thought about it, and then I went ahead and applied. And
Mm-hmm.
I started military and law enforcement almost simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
I started military first as an E1. So one of my greatest accomplishments, because me and my husband started competing when we was in the workforce, is for me, every 6 months I was getting a promotion.
Okay.
Every It's only because I was doing both careers at the same time. So 6 months I was getting a promotion from military, and then the next 6 months I was getting a promotion from law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
So I went from E1, 2, 3, 4, corporal in E5 before I finally, of course, retired from the military. And then I went, um, you have to remember in law enforcement, these transitions were technically, we looked at them as a promotion because we wanted to get on these units so much. And you
Mm-hmm.
also get additional monies and everything and perks for being on these specialized units. So that's why we considered them a promotion, although
Mm-hmm.
you kept the same rank.
Okay.
So in law enforcement, I did, road officer. Then I went to do the Tiger, which is the interdiction unit where you specialize in prostitution, drugs, gangs, all that stuff
Oh
like that. And
wow.
did specialized takedowns with, Georgia State Patrol and the sheriff's office and stuff like that. So after then, I got promoted into narcotics, where I did a couple of undercover narcotic operations as
Let me
well.
find out. Okay.
And then I also, after I did that, I got promoted. Undercover narcotics is a detective position. So after I got promoted to detective, then I got promoted to sergeant. So when I got promoted to sergeant, I got moved to the commander of community affairs,
Mm-hmm.
which community affairs is a unit that has a direct link between the community and the media.
So wait, let
So
me just interject for 1 second. I'm just listening to the progression to where you got to your entrepreneurship, which you're going to get to. And then where did you go back to? The community.
to the community, yes. So yes, in community affairs, I was able to build that bridge and I was able to develop those relationships with the community, you know, speaking with dignitaries,
Mm-hmm.
speaking directly with HOA presidents and neighborhood watch presidents and captains and dealing with things like that and see that things that they deal with and every day. So I did almost 3 years as the commander of PIO and dealing with the media.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you'll probably see some news clippings from 2020, 2021 of me being on the news.
Mm-hmm.
I've did news before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So in 2021, actually 2022 is when we started to venture into entrepreneurship. Our first company was Jules Pressure Washing and Renovations. We actually still have that company. We had built that company up so much to the point we started doing government contracting.
Wow.
We did government contracting with Clayton County, City of South Fulton, and we went after other um, government contracts, but we also seen how political it could get and how
Mm-hmm.
things were.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided to back down a little bit because that company was not our goal. It was not our passion
Got you.
as well, because we were also in the process of building up preferred waste solutions as well, because we were
Mm-hmm.
just waiting on 2023. We was waiting on the year 2023 because that was the year that my husband non-compete clause expired.
Oh, okay. So see, that's like you said, you all were setting up strategies in the midst of this. It's not like you just was like, oh, boom, let's do it. These were strategies that you were have been setting up and putting things in place, which makes
Yes.
for a better transition.
Exactly. We built up Jules Pressure Washing. We built up the credit in that company, everything. We still got that company. The credit is amazing. That helped us flow flawlessly into Preferred Waste Solutions. Um, we started with our own money. Nobody wanted to give us any money. We started with our own funds. So if you're in a position, now I see so many articles and so many um, studies that are done that African Americans are declined for loan and money more than
Yes.
any other demographic.
Yes.
So
Which it makes it
when
important for us to build better
exactly,
and good relationships. And you said this too, and I just want to interject one more time because you said this, and I've
mhm,
taken that to heart. Can I tell you I've done it yet? No, but I'm working on it in the midst of several things. One of the things that you said that was so important was build as an entrepreneur, build relationships with your bank, build relationship with their
exactly,
financial institutions. That is paramount and important.
exactly. So it was very having Jules Pressure Washing was very instrumental to the transition of Preferred Waste Solutions. And we still do work on the Jules Pressure Washing. It's just that it's only if people know of that company and they specifically request that
Okay.
service.
Okay.
And we still have a good reputation to the point that we actually got a call last week to do a whole town hall community. So we're exact when I say we do everything, we do it well. Like we want to put our best foot forward so we leave a great impression on people. That's what I mean, that you can remember me for years to come.
Absolutely.
So yes, that is a progression of preferred way solutions. We started out at one pickup truck. My husband was out there. He actually started on his own on the front end, actually, because I still was working with Clayton County. And the reason I continued to work was we was gonna put him on my insurance. So someone had to have some insurance in the house. So again, that's come to being strategic. We didn't just
Absolutely.
both jump off the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, wait a minute.
so
Now I got to look now because it's my station too. I got to plug this. Any individual who is an entrepreneur going into and needs strategic planning, you can contact me for Connect MD. I am a certified agent in order to give you the membership you need for your family health and medical needs. Okay, back to you, Julia.
yeah, I love it. I love it. So yes, so we I had that job for the medical benefits, and our first goal was because we spent 6 months advertising, and then people now on social media want fast money. And if I was waiting on fast money, I would have been quit because
Oh,
guess what? It
that's a
took
word.
my phone
Yes.
2
Yes.
weeks to ring for my first customer.
Yes.
And do
That's a
you
good word.
understand the patience that you have to wait on your first customer to
Ooh.
call after 2 weeks after all the marketing and stuff that we done?
And marketing costs.
Exactly. So with that being said, that one truck, we got our first customer. I remember her calling and she asked the one question. At first, I was like, "Did you ask any other company this?" And
Hmm.
then after that, I took that as motivation. She
Hmm.
asked me, "Is this a real company?"
Oh,
Yes. So at first, I was like, you know how you get the little,
look,
you
I don't
know,
know if you're old enough to know about Tim Tool Time Taylor, but it's that. Like, wait, what did you
Exactly.
just ask me?
I'm like, did you ask the other companies that before you signed up? But nevertheless, that took that as motivation.
Yeah.
And then my husband, we started off servicing 50 customers on one day.
Mm-hmm.
And then it grew and grew and grew. And now we're up to almost 6,000 customers. So
Love
we
it.
have organically grown. We have organically grown to this amount of customers by word of mouth, by constantly networking with the community out at events, just puts to the ground, being out there, being visible as much as possible, and making sure that we keep to our branding of orange. I want
Yeah.
to stay to our color of orange. No other sanitation company has orange. Preferred Waste Solutions wanted to stand out. We wanted to be offer the best signature services, and we wanted to be known for being orange.
Right.
Orange is warmth, is warm to me. So
Mm-hmm. I was just
we
I was literally getting ready to look at that because I'm like, I like knowing like some origin of things and everything like that. And orange is it symbolizes like high energy, enthusiasm, warmth,
Mhm.
creativity, and it
Mm,
grabs an attention and or it
exactly.
evokes joy. So that's I mean, you don't even think about it. If you throwing out your waste and stuff, you don't think, but you can have joy in all things. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like that.
Exactly. Exactly. And I did not want it to, we did not want to be like any other sanitation company.
Mhm.
Um, One thing, we are not like any other sanitation company. I want the listeners to know that Preferred Waste Solutions is a Black owned, female owned, and veteran owned. We are the only company, sanitation company, that is all three in the metro Atlanta area. So
Come
don't
on
forget
now.
that.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
So, and then initially we started the company catering to our elderly and disabled veterans as well,
Oh
because that was
wow.
close to our heart. But because, older people love to talk. And
Mm-hmm.
believe you me, I have sat on the phone with them at least 30 minutes or so talking. They
Absolutely.
would sit there and talk. So, they're going to spread a good word. And I
Mm-hmm.
have people call and say, hey, my grandmother has your service. She said, y'all service is so good. I'm just going to sign up for y'all service. So I have
Mm.
so many customers like that, that it's through family members and word of mouth that my family has your service. So I'm going to sign up for your service.
Mm-hmm. And
Mhm.
that's the best marketing anyway, like that, because like you said, people who have real testimonials about their experience, that's the best. You even though advertising costs and you want to get the name out there and you have to do it and stuff like that, the best is, oh yeah, that's how I this is what my experience was. Like people ask me all the time, this is on the subject, but not on the subject. People ask me all the time because I do hair, Julia, and they're like, well, where's your
Mhm.
hair page? I don't have no hair page. But for the most part, people like, oh yeah, such and such got their hair braided, and they was like the call. Okay, so I don't. That's not even really my, my
Mhm.
priority or whatever. Again, that keeps them a little side hustle. But I'm like,
Mhm.
no, for people who've got their hair done, somebody seen their hair done. It was like, okay, who did your hair? And then they tell you, and then I get a call or a text and like, hey, can I give your number out or whatever? And it kind of goes from there. So I do. I love all of what you said. And just kind of like beginning to hone in and wrap up, you said, like you said, by word of mouth and other customers. But I definitely have to have you tell people, especially in the in your area of service, how do they contact you to, get to talk to you or anybody in your company about how they can actually have your services though?
Okay, so right now we're running a special monthly special, and you can only get this price 2 days a week. Um, and it's the third week of every month. It's the third Tuesday and Wednesday. It's $23.50 per month. You can give us a call at 678-404-7124. You can speak with my team. You can also go to our website at www.p as in Paul Waste Solutions.com, or you can follow me on social media at Preferred Waste Solution.
Listen, y'all, if even though this is a streaming platform, so everybody's going to hear Miss Julia on this platform and be inspired by being a woman entrepreneur, a melanated woman entrepreneur, being a veteran entrepreneur. Like all these things are inspirational, like I said, especially here in this Women's Month. But for those who are here in Georgia, reach out. I mean, like I said, sometimes like if she's talking about her services, but if you don't see them, it's like, yeah, I mean, anybody can puff themselves up. But baby, when I'm riding around Clayton County, when I'm even, I think, are you in Henry County? Because I promise I done seen a something over there in McDonough, I think, or East Cleveland, must have been
Yeah,
close to the county line or whatever. But I'm
yeah.
in Riverdale, I'm in Morrow, and I'm like, there go to Orange. You are absolutely right. It sticks out. It's not a black can. Black and blue seems to blend in, but I see them everywhere, which means or tells me that people are satisfied with the service. So if you are in any of Julia's service areas, please contact her. But I'm going to say this now, I'm going to put something on you and your company. If you're not in her area and you want her in your area, right? Then you need to reach out and talk to her about that as well. Tisha Campbell said about her son when he had his toy or whatever. My friend
Uh-huh.
got a waste management company. Look her up and get her waste management company. You better find her and get her waste management company. Julia, thank you so much, girl, for having some conversation with me and my crazy self. I love it. Love seeing you around town. Love seeing what you're doing. And I'm just excited for everything that you're doing. And I pray and speak even more abundance in what you and your family and your company will receive this day and every day forth.
Thank you so much. And I pray that your platform grows to
Yes.
the best and biggest platform possible.
Absolutely. I'm coming for all them out there. So I'm just saying, watch out for Destiny Over Drama Radio. And so you already know what this station is anyway. It's the station for your best self, your best life. This is Best Radio. We are out.